Tonight on Joy News Prime, President Akufo-Addo explains the plight of informal workers and the economy were among key considerations for the decision to lift the lockdown on Greater Accra and Greater Kumasi.
The decision has many ramifications: economic, social, cultural, as well, of course, as its health dimensions.
Disregard for social distancing compels authorities in Kumasi to clear a section of the central market after brisk business resumed following the lifting of the lockdown.
Oh, any power hand the woman said, a cat and 15 hand. One hour more a drum one patana, Uncle Anna, almost the Nema saw my test almost Abegun Fiabe. None is any dear Sanya, I say a fay and Trana. And Viviana, a dog, I can't.
The situation was no different in the Central Business District of Accra.
President said, now I'm going to
Okay. So we thank Akufo-Addo to release us.
Also in this bulletin, a fisherman at Disc Cove in the western region who suffered severe injuries during a fishing expedition says he was attacked by a shark.
Shark no coming, sir. Shark no honey.
Doctors attending to him, however, find his story hard to believe.
I've seen patients who have been bitten by sharks, and I have my doubts.
And in business,
civil society organizations call on AU to postpone date for commencement of trading under Continental Free Trade Area.
And the rise of Rafiq Salam, the man from the Upper West who's known for his peculiar pronunciation of the regional capital.
There is no replacement for Rafiq Salam. Wherever you find yourself in any part of the country, you mention that you are from Wa, then the chorus will be there.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam, Wa.
I'm Israel Lai, anchoring from home. And remember, Joy News Prime is live on digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air.
My name is Aisha Ibrahim, coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on digital address DA09925939. The bulletin is also live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Please stay tuned.
The nation is divided over the president's decision last night to lift the 3 weeks lockdown of Greater Accra, Kumasi and Kaswa. With over 1,000 positive cases recorded and test results of over 18,000 samples unknown, a section of the populace were expecting an extension of the lockdown. But President Akufo-Addo has been justifying his decision at a meeting with leadership of the Ghana Medical Association. For him, protection for the citizenry and the economy was a major factor in arriving at the decision to lift the lockdown.
You are the very center of this battle, the doctors and the Association of Doctors in our country. So you are the very center of whatever has to be done to get the country going. I thought it was important for us to meet immediately after the decision we took last night to ease the restrictions on movements in our two greatest cities, Accra and Kumasi, and to get a bit of a flavor of how we're looking at going about this. Because at the end of the day, the decision has many ramifications: economic, social, cultural, as well, of course, as its health dimensions. And what we are required to do as the decision makers is to balance all these factors and then come to a conclusion and a set of decisions that will best protect our people and, of course, protect the economy of our country. We take it that the medical initiatives we've taken, expanding our capacity to trace victims of this disease, being able to test them, being able to isolate and quarantine those who need to be so that we take them out of the population. And then, of course, the treatment. And then also looking at, if you like, the demography of the disease itself. How is it faring in Ghana in terms of sick, in terms of deaths? And all of those have been the basket of issues that has led us to take these decisions. We want the understanding of the medical profession as to the basis for which we are going forward. Because with your understanding, of course, then we are certain that the measures that are put in place will have the sympathetic treatment of those who matter. And that's really the reason why I brought you here, so that we can have a discussion and look at these measures.
President of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Frank Ankobi, expressed support for the decisions taken by government.
So happy that you've invited us this morning to discuss the pertinent issues. All we need to do is to pledge our support to government that we're going to continue with you. We're going to fight till this virus is eliminated from Ghana.
Also at the presidency was the Trade Union Congress, which has described the lockdown as devastating for the economy. According to Secretary General Yao Ban, a study conducted by the Congress revealed thousands have lost their jobs, with some businesses collapsing in the process.
We have followed the developments in the country since the first 2 confirmed cases were announced and the measures you and your government have taken so far to deal with this major health crisis. The excellent leadership you've provided has saved us from the horrible situation we are witnessing in other countries, especially in Europe and the US. The restrictions on movements have yielded some positive results, and we are all witnesses to this. Yesterday, you eased some of these restrictions and emphasized that other restrictions must be complied with strictly. We think it's the right thing to do, given the dire economic consequences of prolonged restrictions. We are in the process of assessing the impact of the health crisis on employment in Ghana. What we are seeing is mind-boggling. Businesses are collapsing in almost all the sectors of the economy. Many people have already lost their jobs. Many more will have lost their jobs without the easing of some of these restrictions. The fight against coronavirus is a shared responsibility. We think you and your government are doing what is expected of you. It is time for us, Ghanaians, to do our part as individuals by observing the safety protocols that will protect us and others from this deadly virus. As we all go back to work starting from today, I would like to appeal to all local, branch, division, and national unions to work with their employers to ensure strict compliance with the various protocols in our fight against this virus. Mr. President, May Day is just at the corner, 11 days from now. We have always celebrated this important Workers' Day of solidarity with you. But this year, we have decided to cancel all the planned national and regional parades that have become the main feature of May Day celebration in our country, in compliance with the ban on public gathering. But all is not lost. I'm happy to say that the Director General of GBC, Professor Amin Al-Hassan, spoke to me on Saturday and assured me that he is arranging a live television program to enable us to reach out to workers with a very strong message on the need for each and every worker to protect himself or herself and their families from this virus.
President Akufo-Addo again justified the decision to lift the partial lockdown.
We have been guided very much in the steps we have taken by our perception of what the data and the science is telling us that we need to do in any given situation. As you know, initially we began by banning public gatherings and moved on, and including the closure of our schools, and moved on also to sequestering our borders and closing our borders. And then came the steps to impose a partial lockdown on our two main cities. Last night, I told the country, you know about it, about the lifting of the partial lockdown in our two main cities in the country. And as part of the steps, hopefully, of the systematic lifting of the restrictions, that would get us go back to a normal way of life. It's not going to be easy to get there. And it requires, on the part of all of us, a great deal of discipline, self-discipline, and respect for the measures that have been put in place. But it is also important that at every stage, where there are significant developments taking place, that we have the opportunity to meet and talk. We're satisfied that the lockdown, the partial lockdown of Accra and Kumasi, did one very important thing for us. It enabled us to enhance significantly our capacity for tracing and testing. And this new disease, nobody's been able yet so far to determine exactly how it operates and therefore how to treat it. To some extent, we're all groping a little bit in the dark. But the most important piece of information that has so far come out of the efforts by various nations is that the tracing contacts from confirmed cases, testing them, establishing whether they themselves have been affected by the virus, and then isolating them from the population and treating them is at the heart of the measures that have to be taken.
In another development, distribution of free meals to Ghanaians affected by the 3-week lockdown over the coronavirus pandemic has been suspended. This follows the removal of the restrictions by President Akufo-Addo on Sunday. Gender and Social Protection Minister Cynthia Morrison, who confirmed this to Joy News, however, says there will be the distribution of some of the uncooked food items to people who have called the toll-free numbers for assistance.
Or restriction period. I want you to tell us how many people were you able to reach out to with these food items, as in both cooked and uncooked food items?
I cannot quantify the uncooked because we're doing 400,000 a day. For the uncooked, what we did was that we give you a ration for 5 days. So if you spread it across, you are looking at 400,000 a day. But because of the uncooked nature, we couldn't go daily and do the distribution. So we add 5 days and we give us a ration. And we do 10 days and give us a ration. So for those ones, the total is 400,000 a day. But with the uncooked, we did 2.5 million, but for the cooked it was 2.5 million, and for the uncooked, 250,000. For the cooked in Greater Accra, we did 100,000. Ashanti region, 50,000, and the uncooked is 250,000 a day.
So if you put all of that together, how many people did you reach out to?
I haven't done the calculation, because we are still doing the distribution of the uncooked.
But we are told that the distribution of cooked food is supposed to have ended today.
We would round up maybe by Wednesday. Today we are doing counseling as well to let them know that tomorrow they would get, but the next day they are not going to get. Because I don't know how, but they gathered this today, waiting for food. So it would have been a disappointment if nothing went. And I'm sure that they didn't come on a full tummy. They came hungry. So if they come today and there's nothing. So we are gradually weaning them off the food thing by explaining today. Tomorrow too, we'll do the explanation again. And then we round up.
So what happens with the distribution of uncooked food then?
You see, they did, they numbered, they gave some cards and they did registration. NADMO, the uncooked food was given to the local government department, being the MMDCs. In Greater Accra is the MCs, together with NADMO from the district assemblies. So they were doing the distribution of the uncooked food. We did the cooked food, even though it's all in the same ministry. You know, decentralization, our social services people are at the district assembly. So we have social welfare at the district assembly. And so they supervise the uncooked food. They haven't brought me the finality yet, because we didn't know that the president was going to end it yesterday. So we thought it was still ongoing. So they'll bring me the full data. And then for the cooked food, because we pay the caterers according to what they cook. So we have that data easily.
Would you say, as we are getting ready to wrap up and suspend the distribution of the cooked food and even the uncooked ones, the people who were benefiting from your benevolence, would you say they are on a level, grounded footing to take charge of their daily bread?
I don't see any country that they give food for free. Everybody works for food, you know that. This situation is one of its kind, and then the president thought it wise to give food.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break at this point, but still ahead in the bulletin, we'll bring you the story about the rise of Rafiq Salam, the man from the Upper West region who's known for his peculiar pronunciation of the regional capital.
It's no replacement for Rafiq Salam. Wherever you find yourself in any part of the country and you mention that you are from Wa, then the chorus will be there.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wa.
And I'm Israel Light, anchoring from home.
Joy News Prime Headlines was brought to you.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now to the rest of our stories. And city authorities in Kumasi were Monday compelled to move traders out of the Dr. Mensah area of the Central Market for disregarding social distancing following the lifting of the lockdown. Some recalcitrant traders who put up some resistance had some of their wares destroyed after security personnel were called. Nanaya Ojima has been monitoring the situation and now reports.
City guards break down empty wooden boxes of an adamant trader. Already, her bananas have been loaded into a pickup truck by some security guards. She will not let it go without a fight.
I've been home for 3 weeks. I came back just today and see what they've done to my wares.
Many of her colleagues have been chased out of the market by city guards and a few military men. During the lockdown period, a shift system was instituted to ensure social distancing here at the market. Traders interpreted the lift of the lockdown as breakdown of the measure adopted.
I came to buy some foodstuffs but couldn't enter the market after seeing the crowd. They had taken over the center of the market. Social distancing was being disregarded, hence the action the security took. A few of us restricted ourselves to our stores, but our colleagues who are not supposed to be here came to cause the overcrowding you saw.
Traders who belong to the shift team, who have legal mandate to operate here, will not let go easily. Member of KMA Security Committee, Justice Anoche, reveals the assembly will meet and re-strategize for the market.
Previous, it was a few who were being issued, who received the cards. Now the lockdown is over. We are going to sit down and meet the leaders again.
The VIP bus terminal at Asafo, leaders wielded canes to keep away even drivers and staff because it was not yet their turn to have their buses loaded. It's a measure of ensuring social distancing among staff. They've all been forced to purchase face masks for protection. Second trustee Francis Asamoah reviews some of their vehicles have been made to halt work in adherence to social distancing in buses.
We are waiting for our leadership to revise our mode of operations. Later today, a decision will be taken on how we can get all our coaches back on the road.
Meanwhile, passengers have taken their safety into their own hands. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Here in Accra, specifically the Central Business District, Maxwell Agbagba reports business is slowly bouncing back, with some of the traders commending the president for the decision to lift the lockdown.
We are here in the Central Business District. This intersection is just about 100 meters away from the Ghana School of Law here at the Central Business District. The road behind me leads to the Independence Avenue. The one on my left-hand side is the Kojo Thompson Road. If you know this intersection, it gets very busy around this time, especially on a Monday morning. You find a lot of people, trooping to the market. Not much of activity is, happening here. Let me speak to this woman here who is selling Veronica buckets here at the Central Business District.
In some ways, yeah, because some young crowd complaining,
well, she says in some way it is good, in some way too she cannot really tell, because she's been here in this market and she's seen how people were, struggling, the vulnerable people, some vulnerable people were struggling, even getting food. She says sometimes the distribution of food, sometimes some of them do not get it. Okay, they suffer before they get the food.
President,
Okay. Well, she says it was good that the president, asked us to stay at home because the disease is deadly. That's what she's saying. And she's saying that now that we've come back, they have come back to the market, it is important for them to adhere to personal hygiene, use hand sanitizers and all of that. So we're very close to the Rollins Park. Now we are actually moving to the other parts of the Central Business District. We want to get a fair, a view of what the market looks like today, what the Central Business District looks like today. We were here during the lockdown period. It was virtually empty with no activity whatsoever. The only people who were allowed in the market, the only people who were allowed in the Central Business District were people who were selling food, who were also providing essential services. Now the lockdown has been lifted. What we've observed is that business is slowly bouncing back, but we do not have the usual hustle and bustle that you'd see on a Monday here at the Central Business District. So we're just giving you an idea of what it is like. So these are the empty streets. You can see the streets are virtually empty. On a normal day, both sides of the road will be blocked, choked, and packed. There will be bumper-to-bumper traffic. Cars will be moving slowly, and that is not the case today. Well, we're here at Jamestown, very close to the Jamestown police station. From here, we'll be moving to Choco. But I have some of the residents here. We want to interact with them and find out from them what they make of the lifting of the lockdown.
As at now, we can no longer pick 4 passengers. We normally pick 3.
Okay.
That is the directives that have been given to us.
Okay.
To pick 3 passengers.
Is that affecting your daily sales?
Well, it's affecting us a lot, but we are speaking to some of the car owners, to the exercise patient, if probably they can even reduce the sales so that we can also make it. The lockdown make me lose my everything. My business go down. My customer, they don't come. So I make lose for the down.
Okay.
So we thank Akufo-Addo say release us. The way the police and soldiers they beat me in my back self.
Still to come in this bulletin, a fisherman at Discove in the Western region who suffered severe injuries during a fishing expedition says he was attacked by a shark. Doctors attending to him, however, find his story hard to believe.
Patients who have been bitten by sharks, and I have my doubts.
And in sports, Atletico Madrid are giving Thomas Partey more money to keep the Black Star in Spain. There is more when we return from the break. Now for business, Daryl Kwa is here with the very latest from that world. We're hearing that the coronavirus pandemic could affect the Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Coronavirus has a way of affecting everything, Aisha. Well, civil society organizations are calling on the Trade Commission of the African Union to consider postponing the July 1 date for the commencement of trading under the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. This call has become necessary considering the havoc coronavirus has dealt to economies on the continent. There is more in the following Business Desk report.
It is an undeniable fact that the virus has already taken a significant toll on lives and the economies of many countries across the continent. Projected revenue for African governments has been hard hit, and the majority of businesses are not in good shape to take advantage of the agreement. With the closure of most land and sea borders, as well as airports, it will be difficult for people and goods to move freely within the context of the CFTA agreement. For this reason, some civil society groups, including CART International, is asking that the planned dates be pushed back for at least 6 months to allow countries and businesses recover from the pandemic. Their call is premised on the hope that the infection curve will be flattened by the third quarter across the continent, and economic managers and business owners would have an idea on the way forward. Joy Business checks reveal that if the AU decides to stick to the July 1st date, some countries could use the virus outbreak as a pretext to close their national borders, since goods and services cannot be moved without people. Ghana's representative at the Third Permanent General Assembly of the African Union Economic, Social and Economic Council, Apia Adomako, when contacted, disclosed that he was hopeful the postponement of the date would allow for the unfinished agenda on the protocols and goods to be completed. This, when done, will also permit the Secretariat, which is headquartered in Accra, Ghana, to be fully set up in terms of personnel and staff, he stated.
Meanwhile, the Executive Director of the Africa Center of International Trade and Development, Isaac Hubert Arthur, agrees with the calls for the postponement of commencement of trading under the Continental Free Trade Agreement. He also spoke to me about the implications of the coronavirus pandemic on African trade.
We believe that it shouldn't be postponed. We don't believe that commencement of the AfCFTA in July 2020 should be postponed, because it will not be in our own interest to do that.
Considering all the work that has gone into getting this to work, let's talk about the pandemic. Let's talk about its effect on trade. What do you anticipate it would be on intra-Africa trade?
I mean, of course, obviously you can see that it has affected productive capacity. And with that, I mean that a lot of industries have closed down. I mean, we are not having productions, with the exception of the pharmaceutical and food production that have gone on in the past few weeks and months since the COVID-19 started. So obviously, it hasn't affected, the entire system. I mean, just specifically when it comes to trading, most of the borders are closed. I mean, the borders, both the airports, our airlines are not working. Most of our cargoes are not moving across the various borders, even here in West Africa. And then, most of the ship lines are not moving like the way they normally operate. So obviously, Africa trade is affected heavily.
Okay. Another important story we are following for you: domestic airlines are set to resume operations after the president eased some restrictions. Africa World Airlines, for instance, has announced that the resumption of limited domestic scheduled flight service will take effect from Tuesday, April 21. AWA says it will initially operate one daily round-trip flight each from Accra to Kumasi and Tamale. These domestic flights are expected to operate with the highest levels of safety protocols, which will include mandatory thermal screening and hand sanitization for all passengers and staff. Players are currently locked up in a meeting to agree on protocols. We'll bring you more when we hear the outcome of that meeting. Also tonight, ratings agency Moody's has revised the country's credit outlook from positive to negative. The decision to change the outlook to negative, Moody's says, reflects the rise in risk ultimately emanating from the coronavirus outbreak. The outbreak has caused an unprecedented shock across a wide range of global sectors, markets and regions. So let's give you some health tips as we try to deal with the outbreak of coronavirus here in the country.
The COVID-19 prevention segment is brought to you by Dole, a tasty and fruity yogurt. Alive soap, your life matters to us. Stay alive. Magdan Shipping, your total logistics partner. Petrosol, a delightful experience. Pollard Life Assurance, we've got you covered. And Carex kills 99.9% of bacteria. Say yes to life in collaboration with the Ghana Medical Association.
All right, so by popular request, we have sports coming up in the first hour of Joy News Prime. And Gary L. Smith is here. Gary, so you're welcome to the first hour.
Hello, first hour of Joy News Prime. It's a pleasure to be here after all these years of being in the second hour. Anyway, Israel, thank you.
And this is going to be a regular feature, by the way. So viewers, enjoy Prime. Just take note.
All right. So, Siki Akono, who says that he can't wait to start work. Don't forget that after he got the job, he couldn't really hit the ground running because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Attitude, attitude on the field of play, our reaction, and also to bring the love back, we need to show a lot of more passion in the way we approach the game. We look at Sudan, for instance. We assess their last match. But they also have a new coach, And for me, it's important to know what a coach is bringing on board. So I had a chance to look at him as when he was with the club level, the team that he handles, how they were playing, so that I wouldn't be deceived, in the sense that he's coming into a national team, and definitely he wants to change things. And so it was important to look at that team without him as a coach, and him and have that combination of what can be expected of me. I'm sure the players can't wait to get back on the field of play, and so I'm also in the same situation. It's my first opportunity to head the team, and I'm looking forward to it. But first, we must take care of ourselves and be safe. Yeah.
Still on Siki Akono, he says that when all this is over and the work begins with the Black Stars, he expects his backroom staff to be committed.
I have been as a scout for this team. I've worked as an ambassador for this team. I have been around this team for a while. I captain the team myself, And so if I don't know anything at all, I know something. And one of the issues is off the field issues. Each and every one plays a bigger role. We had a meeting, and I made it clear to them, and also to understand the level of commitment, the level of commitment that involves in this job. I'm the head, but it doesn't mean I'm the one to do everything. They must be committed. They are individuals, but their contribution will go a long way for us. And Duncan will be very helpful in terms of preparation, in terms of rules and regulations in camp. You know, we have a lady who is a dietitian. That is his role, you know, and so I have put guidelines as to what one has to do so that we don't cross each other.
And finally, here's news on another Black star. Kevin Prince Boateng is making the news. He had an Instagram live session with Thierry Henry, and it was really beautiful as Kevin admitted that the way he likes to wear his socks over his knee was inspired by the Arsenal legend.
Crazy. You know, when you realize when I signed, they gave me the key of the car straight. On the key was written my name, Prince. I didn't have that for like a long time. Then you do taking the pictures, press conference. I was like, okay, I'm back on the big stage now. Yeah, for me personal, it was unbelievable. Football-wise, it was really difficult. The best I played with is Messi, okay? Because it's different. You see him against you, and then it's different. You see him in training what he can do. You know.
I know.
There's another one is Ibrahimovic. He's like on the level, you know, because he's the same. He can play alone. Then you have, like Mario said, Pirlo. Come on, you cannot. You know, that's why I changed so many. I played with so many players. It's so difficult. But if you say one who can every game make you win a game, and I played with him, is Messi. If you're like me, like you are, we're mixed race, you know. We're two sides, and.
More of that interview later, but that's the sport for now. And as Israel said, please be getting used to this. I'll be here in the first hour from now. I'm Gary Alsfield with the sport.
So, welcome back to Joy News, and it's time for Showbiz. Becky is here with the very latest. Becky, we're hearing some good news there.
Good news.
Davido's wife is now, his fiancé is now testing negative.
We're very excited about that.
But what about
Idris? Okay. Idris as well. Idris and his wife Sabrina also tested negative, and also
some great news there.
Yeah, we're very proud of that development. Yeah, so that's the good news, Aisha. But let's move away from COVID. Well, let's still stay, you know, a bit on COVID and talk about you know, what's been going around, you know, the world. So you know that the president has lifted the lockdown.
Yeah, the restrictions on movement.
And we have like some of our celebrities reacting to that. We have Prince David Osei, who says that yes, the
lifting of the restriction is fantastic.
Is the right thing that the president has done. Yeah.
Personally, I think what the president did was to trust us with the fact that, you know, if he lifts the ban, we're going to go by our, you know, our activities, adhering to all the precautionary measures, you know, still wearing our masks, washing our hands, and knowing that, you know, everybody more like is positive, so you have to protect yourself out there. Because, and it does to a more serious note, for how long can the lockdown, how far can it go? Because at the end of the day, the economy needs to run. People were complaining, agitating, they're hungry, there's no food, everybody suddenly became a beggar. And even the less privileged that they were feeding, for how long are they going to feed them? They can't feed them, you know, to some extent they'll get tired, there were no funds, and the nation needs to run. At the end of the day, if only we are going to be responsible citizens, because some of the restrictions are still in place. There's no school, there's no gathering, social gathering, and our borders are still closed. So just within Accra and Kumasi, for the purpose of commerce and business and activities to flow, I feel it's a step in the right direction.
Yes, it's a step in the right direction.
Well, there's mixed feelings out there. Some people also think that it's
not good.
Right. I mean, it wasn't the right time. We knew it would be lifted though, but they think that it's been lifted too early. But what about King already?
So
Shatta and Beyonce.
Yeah, do you know that song that featured Shatta Wale, is actually Beyonce's song that featured Shatta Wale, has gotten Sarkodie a deal that we never knew about.
Wow.
So he was on Denta Show and he's been making all these revelations.
If you take
what happened with our brother Shatta Wale when Beyonce featured. People don't understand. So Ghanaians naturally feel like it has to be fake when I like it. You see, that is the state of mind we have been in for a very long time, because we're built that how can you be, so what is it, so-called, everything is competition. So how can the entire be happy for another person who is doing another award? If it's dope and you like it, you have to feel free.
Absolutely.
And let me tell you my point of view of how I saw that. I just didn't see Shatta Wale winning. I was actually in London, having meetings with people trying to like seal this deal, and they're white people. I could see they didn't really get it, this whole Afrobeat thing. And that same week, Beyonce drops that project. So I was thinking more about me, because that move right there would get me through that contract. Exactly. So, and guess what? That same week I was able to seal that, because the people were like, no, they wouldn't say it's because of that, but I know even Beyonce is featuring, you know. So that is where my state of mind was at that point. That's why I supported. But Ghanaians are not used to that, so some people get scared. Right? Oh, he's going too far. Like he's doing. Then you lose out, because the opportunities that you can look at, I don't know how it's going to change, because it's a lot of people. Like it's the masses, you know, and the mindset. You know, we have to hold on to it. You know, when Kwesi Arthur got nominated, that's the same feeling I had. Because what happens is the Lion King album, if we don't push it, especially as Ghanaians, right? What is happening is if Beyonce doesn't get the response that she wants from us, and we are trying to sabotage it or try to like discredit the fact that it's a huge moment, it's not going to happen again. So that means if Beyonce,
well, this is a typical example of grabbing an opportunity once it comes your way, not leaving any stone
and also
unturned.
Supporting each other. Don't look down on, you know, what's
it's amazing to hear this, because you know there's been some beef going on.
There's nothing, according to Sarkodie, there's nothing really going on.
Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing us showbiz. Today we took out Bralai. Sorry, Bralai. So for you, those of you also watching on Joy Prime, that'll be 8. The news continues on Joy News. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. To the rest of our stories. And police in the Western region are investigating a case of illegal fishing that turned fatal. It involves a fisherman at Akweda near this cove who lost his hand and suffered severe injuries to his face, requiring plastic surgery to look close to normal again. The twist to the story is that while the victim is insisting he was attacked by a shark while on a fishing expedition, health experts at the Fiankwanta Regional Hospital say the signs on his body tell a different story. Joy News' editor Martha Krensolakwa has more in the following report.
Akweda is a fishing community near Disco in the Ahanta West district of the Western region. Isaac Adu set out on a fishing expedition. But as our sources tell us, Mr. Adu employed illegal means to fish.
On Tuesday, 3rd March, I decided to go fishing and fend for the family. I went with 2 others. We were carrying our fishing gear while the outboard motor was at the rear of the canoe. When we got a catch, we came together to pull the net. While we're doing so, a big fish hit the canoe, so I jumped into the water to get it since I thought it was dead. A shark attacked me in the process. I was lucky I could swim. My brothers eventually rescued me.
Blast fishing or dynamite fishing is the practice of using explosives to stun or kill schools of fish for easy collection. This often illegal practice can be extremely destructive to the surrounding ecosystem, as the explosion often destroys the underlying habitat. The frequently improvised nature of the explosives used means danger for the fishermen as well, with accidents and injuries. That is what is suspected to have occurred in Isaac Edo's case. Early February, Joy News sources say a similar activity caused the death of another fisherman who was hurriedly buried without autopsy.
I did not use dynamite. Those accusing me should come forward. I jumped into the water alone. No one knows what happened to me there. Even my brothers realized I was in danger when they saw the blood in the water.
Traumatologist Dr. Teria Siame and the team found Isaac Edu during their routine ward rounds at the Fiankwanta Regional Hospital. He recollects what he saw.
We went to the emergency room at the Fiankwanta Regional Hospital on our usual ward rounds, and then we met this patient who was in a very terrible shape. Terrible shape in the sense that we realized that he was conscious, all right, but we realized that the right hand had been chopped off, and the right side of the eye has also been avulsed. Avulsion means it's like you have beaten it out, and the part of the teeth is even showing from the lost tissues in the right side of the face. And then he had these multiple punctured wounds all over the body, from the chest, on the upper arms and the lower arms. And so normally what we do is we take a history, and then we examine the patient, and then we do some investigations, and then we make a diagnosis. So from the history, we were told that he said he was a fisherman, and during the fishing expedition, he was bitten by a shark.
Dr. Teria Siame, however, says the injuries on the victim's body do not indicate a shark attack, as he is insisting was the case.
We anesthetized him, we realized that the findings were quite different from what we were expecting, because normally for a shark bite, we were not expecting all those little punctured wounds all over the body, which appear like pellets from a bullet pellets all over the body. So we started wondering. So there we thought it could be something else. And so what we did was we cleaned the wound, and then created a flap, and then we covered the amputated limb, the right hand, around the forearm. And then we also tried to close the lost tissue around the right side of the face. I honestly think otherwise. I don't think it's a shark, because of those punctured wounds all over, like pellets. If you've done this work for some time, when people are shot with pellets, you see pellets, you see punctured wounds all over the body. So it's like something that got blasted in pieces, and then the pieces, created punctured wounds all over the body of the patient. So I believe the rest of the work has to be done by the police officers, the investigators. But for me, I've seen patients who have been bitten by sharks, and I have my doubts.
The police in the Western region say a complaint has been made against Isaac Edu and 2 others for conspiracy to commit crime using explosives or dynamite for fishing, which falls under illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing practices, IUU. Mr. Aid was discharged on 7th April 2020 from the Effiong-Nkwanta Regional Hospital with a referral letter to Kolebu Teaching Hospital for plastic surgery. For Joy News, my name is Martha Crensel Aqua.
He is Joy News' longest-standing regional correspondent, hailed by the people of his home region and loved by many across the world for his unique reporting skills and diction. Rafiq Salam has shown that to succeed, one's location means very little, so long as you work hard and remain dedicated to the cause. In this special report, my colleague Justice Bedu went to meet him at his base in the Upper West Regional Capital, Wa. This is Rafiq's story.
My name is Rafiq Salam. I was born some 44 years ago. My father's children, we are 27, and I'm the 24th born of my father.
On a ride about town, Joy News' famed Rafiq Salam in the city he calls the best place on earth.
If God was to create a place that is far better than what God himself should have that place.
Rafiq's 15-year journey to Joy News is one of resilience. And since he got here, his hard work has kept him up there with the stars.
I tried a couple of times to join a multimedia group somewhere around 2002, 2003. I got the opportunity to work with Joy FM reporting on an accident in 2006. Mark Adam Banner was the municipal chief executive, and then he got a second from then President John Ajekum Kufuor. The following day, I had another call from Matilda Asante. They wanted me to speak about life in Wa, how Wa was like when they sacked the municipal chief executive. I told her that I won't go. She said, "Why are you not going?" I said, "I am not working for Joy FM, and you can't be pushing me around." And so Matilda says that it's like you're a man of little patience. Would you like to work with Joy FM? I said, of course.
The Upper West region was created 37 years ago.
From chasing breaking news through telling the rarely seen arts and culture of the people of Ghana's northwesternmost region, Rafiq has been on nearly every beat, and his work has produced results. Results that people in this region are witnesses to.
When people come into the region, say they want to see Rafiq, how did you get that done? It is through your medium.
There is no replacement for Rafiq Salam. He's one of those persons that come around and you know that when this person leaves, there's going to be a void. He's gone after the marginalized and has brought out their stories in a way that has attracted the attention of the world. Wherever you find yourself in any part of the country and you mention that you are from Wa, then the chorus will be there. Rafiq Salam, Wa.
I didn't know that I was always saying Rafiq Salam, Wa. It was Hannah Odami who drew my attention. One day that I did a report and I didn't add the Wa. And then Hannah said, "Oh, you didn't add a signature tune." I said, "What is that?" He said, "Oh, you always say Rafiq Salam, Wa. I want you to do it for me." And so one Hannah said, "Okay, let me do it." I said, "No, I was too shy." She said, "Oh, just do it for me. I like the Wa one." So when I say Rafiq Salam, Wa, and then so after that, all the reports that I was doing, I started doing Rafiq Salam, Wa, Rafiq Salam. I catch up with people, it became a craze.
From the days of pushing his rickety bike around town, stringing for Joy FM, Rafiq today runs a team of audiovisual workers made up of 5 people, producing content for Joy News' 24-hour broadcast on radio, online, and on TV.
This office is supposed to be a bureau. We need to have people in the bureau districts, and so that you have a chief bureau officer stationed in Wa, and all of them will report to him, and so that then for onward sending to Accra, so that officers in Wa or like Wa should be a bureau, should be a center, and so that anything that happens in the region, we don't need to bring people from Accra to come and do it, so that by Wa standard, Wa itself could be able to transmit live.
The Upper West's Rafik personifies multimedia itself. Tenacity, integrity, and hard work. His story, like that of this company, shows that it shouldn't matter where you are coming from or how small you start. You can always be up there where the best are. Justice Bedu, Joy News. Wow.
And later on tonight, we'll be out and about in Accra to assess nightlife after the lifting of the lockdown with reports from Osu and La Paz. But of course, Aisha, you would agree with me that Rafik is really one hell of a guy.
He's one guy who leaves me with all smiles after his stories. All right, so to the rest of our stories, a virologist at the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research, one of Ghana's 2 key COVID-19 testing laboratories, is calling for stronger surveillance measures to prevent escalation of coronavirus cases in the country. Dr. Michael Owusu says the lifting of the lockdown will make no impact if Ghanaians misconstrue it as a relaxation of surveillance protocols. He tells my colleague Ohime Nteria of our health desk, lifting of lockdown will make no impact if Ghanaians misconstrue it for relaxing the surveillance of protocols. He says security personnel should be maintained on the streets to ensure enforcement of precautionary measures.
According to Dr. Michael Owusu, security operatives should be maintained on the streets for continued enforcement of preventive measures.
I see people moving about as if the disease is over. The disease is not over. The disease is in the system and is trying to take hold of the system. And when it gets hold of the system, then it will start knocking the susceptible people, those who are old and chronic illness, at random. And then you begin to have a spike in hospital cases. This, for me, is a very crucial moment for us, where if we don't put in good measures, we cannot do contact tracing anymore. Contact tracing will lose its relevance. Our best bet is to stay at the hospitals waiting for people to come. And by the time you begin to get there, it will be a difficult thing for us to manage as a country. So I think that if we have to still slow the spread, then we have to ensure that the social distancing and all the accompanying measures will become we have to enforce it, not to give it for people as an option and to just encourage, but to move forcefully and ensure people adhere to this. In that way, we can still succeed in slowing the spread whilst people go by the economic duties. And then I also expect that if we put in good surveillance measures, as the disease begins to rise, we should lock down as and when the disease begins to shake. I mean, people begin to have experience. We didn't think that lockdown is over. No. We can live with this for the next 6 to 12 months. So the precautions now should be more stronger even than before. And the police and the security must ensure that all the measures are enforced. For me, if you go out now and you don't have a bottle of sanitizer in your pocket, the security should be able to tell you to go home and pick it up. If you don't have a nose mask, you must be returned. So I don't think the security should go out now. The security now should be even more in town and should begin to observe that people take the social distancing more seriously. Begin to observe that all the precaution measures people adhere to. As a matter of fact, when people don't adhere to, they must be arrested.
Dr. Owusu, who is also a lecturer at the Department of Medical Diagnostics at KNUST, wants all Ghanaians to be compelled to wear face masks. He says strict enforcement and compliance are key to winning the fight.
The approach we are using is okay, and is what we call the heavy restriction and flexible approach, or what others will call it the dance and then the hammer approach. We understand that the prevalence of community cases is a little below 1% in both Ashanti and then also in Accra. So for me, it means that the burden of disease on the ground is quite good. And all the 1,042 we have, practically, I expect that the movement have been restricted, which means that they are either isolated or they are under mandatory quarantine. So they are not moving about to infect populations. The surveillance measures will have to be stronger than before. The social distancing must be practiced more stronger than before. The hygienic practices must be more stronger than before. So your measures in terms of what you put on the ground before you ease restriction has to be even much more stronger than what was done before. So theoretically, yes, it's good. But the surveillance measures and all the precautions is what we have to ensure that people adhere to. Else, people go by their normal duties and relax these measures, my fear is that we may begin to have an increase in cases coming up. I don't expect nose masks to be encouraged. I expect nose masks to be mandatory, that everywhere anybody goes, before you go to a trotro, a public transport, every gathering you go, the first thing is that you must be in a nose mask, and the police must ensure that whoever goes out has a nose mask.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohimi Tibia reporting.
And back here in Accra, founder of Lawrence Tete Ministries, Dr. Lawrence Tete, is encouraging religious leaders and the general public to embrace social distancing protocols and the ban on public gatherings, which will ensure safety from the deadly coronavirus. Speaking after a donation of personal protective equipment, hand sanitizers, and others to residents of Ashaiman, the pastor revealed this has informed his decision to postpone a scheduled crusade. He says there is no need to be overly spiritual with the matter.
Virus is deadly. It is killing people. And here in Ghana, we should be thankful to God that God is hearing our prayer, that we are not seeing the numbers like it's happening in the UK, in America, in Asia, in Italy, and in Spain. And we also want to take this opportunity to admonish all religious leaders to be sensitive at this time. There's no need for us to be over-spiritual. Let us rather come to that place where we will be open-minded, and we'll come to that place where we are informed so that we will study to understand what scientific rules are for us to abide by. We as Christians and as leaders want to abide by government orders, that we should be able to hold on as we seek God's face together to be able to see the end of the COVID-19 pandemic. As a matter of fact, we all know that there's no gainsaying that science has no solution now, politics has no solution, and economic power has no solution now. The world at large has no solution, but the solution is in the hands of God.
Welcome back. Some more business news for you. My name is Daryl Kwao. Business activities at one of Accra's popular malls, Junction Mall, was slow for the first half of the day after the president suspended the 3-week lockdown. Joy Business's Eben Sabute has been interacting with the manager of the mall about the health protocols being put in place. Shops, half-empty car parks. That's generally what you see at the once vibrant Junction Mall in Accra, a day after the announcement by the president to lift the 21-day lockdown in Greater Accra and Greater Kumasi. General Manager of the Junction Mall, Ebenezer Amakwe, tells Joy Business, though things have been slow, they're gearing up for a huge business week.
On that, it's going to be gradual. You know, since the president announced the reopening of businesses yesterday, it was quite late in the evening. So most businesses are now taking time to put measures in place to restart their operations.
The mall management has also put in place some health protocols for tenants and anybody doing business at the mall. Here's marketing manager Reggie Bule.
We also had a training for all staff within the mall. That was the first week, just after, I think the day after the president announced that we have the virus in town. We did the training for all staff within the mall in partnership with Light Healthcare. They give us doctors that trained our staff on what to do and what to expect and how to prevent yourself from getting infected with this virus.
Ashanti Region Expo managers of the Ejisu market are considering a rotational system for traders to ensure compliance with social distancing protocols despite lifting of the lockdown. Already, the traditional market days of Sundays and Thursdays have been suspended, but many traders are disregarding all preventive measures except hand washing. Prison Pierre has more.
The Ejisu municipality was one of the areas locked down in the Ashanti region for 3 weeks. Traders at the market in the capital were going about their activities as though there was no disease scare. Amasewa, also known as Colombia, confirms.
Social distance we are having
The social distancing is not working here because everybody wants to trade. Many of us don't understand. Because people want to survive, non-food traders are now selling food, so we are crowded here.
Thursdays and Sundays are the market days, which see many troop to the facility for business. have been suspended by municipal authorities to ensure proper spacing. The traders themselves acknowledge stricter measures are needed and they welcome the idea of a rotational system.
Our names have been written. They are going to distribute cars to us. I think the rotation system will help. So after we receive the cars, we will run a shift system. We shall abide by it.
After government lifted the lockdown, many customers and traders are here in their numbers to trade or buy one thing or the other. Authorities say a rotational system is imminent. This is the Member of Parliament for Ejiso, Kwabena Owusu-Aduomi.
Well, they should all comply because the disease no bounds. It's a disease that if you fail to comply with the directives, what science has advised us, and you just want to do whatever you want, you may not be lucky. You may contract disease. So I will still advise them. I will still plead with my people, market women, to ensure that the social distancing, the washing of hands frequently and sanitizing it, and also covering your nose with a mask is important so that we all prevent.
Mr. Owusu-Aduomi revealed this after distributing 1,500 bags of rice to vulnerable members of the Ejiso community at the cost of 300,000 Ghana cedis. Prince Apia reporting.
Around $26 a barrel. Here's a quick look at the commodity market. And that's it for business. Back to you, Aisha.
Many thanks for the updates in business. Now, after the lifting of the lockdown, there's been some jubilation there, even though some people think it wasn't. But I can tell you that a lot of people will be out there tonight. Nancy Amefajra-Dosi earlier spoke with some people.
So it's barely 24 hours after President Akufo-Addo announced the lifting of the lockdown. We are here at Osu. In fact, what we just bypassed was the Osu Presby, and the streets are virtually empty. We are hoping that by the time we get to the Osu Oxford Street, we'll find out the situation there, because there are concerns about the fact that people probably will not be observing social distancing, and people would, go against all the instructions and come out in their numbers and come and watch what is happening in town. But we've been through the Rate Roundabout, we've been through Rate itself, we've been to Adabraka, and I can say from what I have seen so far that people are not really in town as you expect them to. The traffic levels are also very, very low, and so basically the situation in town from what we have been through to here has been quite encouraging. In a few meters we will be getting to the heart of Accra, the place that never goes to sleep. If you've been to Osu before, you know that it is a place where, people come, especially on Fridays, even after work on weekdays, to party, to buy stuff, to get drinks, and it's a place where you have to party. And so we are here to find out how exactly people are. So you see that people are standing in front of their doors, standing in front of their shops and selling. Others are also doing some buying. In fact, on a normal day, this part of Osu is usually choked with traffic. You'd have a lot of cars lined up, cars honking, and people calling out passengers from churches to taxis, everybody honking. But today the place is relatively peaceful. I mean, you see a few people out of their rooms buying coconuts out there, others also walking. You don't see people wearing nose masks specifically, but then there's some level of, peace and social distancing that is being observed here at Osu. So we just bypassed the Osu Shell, and from Osu Shell is very close to Papaya and some of the big eateries and restaurants around. Still the same. We were here some few weeks ago when the lockdown was enforced, and I can say that the situation for me have not changed, even though, yes, I see that the number of taxis and the number of cars have increased over the period, and the situation is not as compared to when, Osu itself is alive. Today, the town that you normally come to when it's buzzing with noise and screams and, pubs are always blaring with music. Today, I am not hearing any music. I am not getting the vibe that you usually get from Osu here in town. You just bypass the Fidelity Bank, and this is also this junction where we currently are is almost close to where that goes to the Republic. Republic, if you know Republic very well, it's a place that people go and have fun, eat, drink. There's always loud music. But as I speak to you, there's absolutely nothing happening in Osu. Just a few cars, and you'll see a few taxis lined up, possibly waiting to get some customers on the street. This road actually also would head to Serralio and another popular joint. Okay, so finally I get some music, and it's only blaring or coming from the Goil filling station. That should tell you that, yes, indeed, things have really changed. You only see people selling their earpieces and their mouthpieces and other gadgets on the streets. This is also where the action normally is, the KFC area. You have a lot of people standing here all the time, buying food stuff and all. But today, the situation is different. You hardly get anything of that sort. The police, the fire service car just bypassed us, and that is the only noise I've heard through our entire journey here, and also Oxford Street. It is quite, difficult for me to believe, because for somebody that comes to Osu often, I am quite surprised at the peaceful nature that this environment is. In fact, some of the buildings have actually switched off the entire building. It's as if they are not in any sort of operation at all. You realize that a lot of the buildings here have also closed down, except for a few, like the pharmacies to my right, some of the eateries, to my right, and basically that is all that you see. So I don't know how here would also be on a Friday, but I want to believe that even with the social, with the lifting of the lockdown, people are still being careful. I finally see a man wearing his nose mask there on the street, and that is the only person I have seen in the last 15 minutes that we've been on the road. He's the only one I have seen wearing the nose mask. We are gradually getting to the Obechebi roundabout, and this place, if you know very well, is quite busy. You have a lot of people selling shoes, selling, wares on the floor, on the pavement. But today, the situation is absolutely different. I am really surprised. Here's a piece. Where we are heading to is actually a place that goes to, it's called Purple Pub. Now, if you are somebody that visits Osu, you know that Purple Pub is a place that people don't joke with. People will go there on a daily basis after work just to get something off their heads, get some drinks into their system, get some yam and some chicken for themselves. But here's the situation: virtually empty. Yes, the shops are back in operation, but virtually quite an empty street, except for some people standing at the bus stops, probably waiting for public transport to come around. But that is all you get. That is all you get. This entire stretch on a usual weekday or on a Friday is filled with cars parked along the shoulders of the road, and also, people, music especially blaring from speakers that are mounted along the side. But today, it's sad. The situation is different. Nothing of that sort. The city that we used to come alive to on a Friday or on a weekday has suddenly gone silent. So here that we've reached is actually the Purple Pub. And for movie lovers, for music lovers, and for people who like to jam, this is what you see if you come. Absolutely nothing. So virtually, this is the situation in town. A day after the lockdown, nothing really has changed. It is just few cars honking, people calling out passengers, people calling up people are calling customers come and buy their wares, and that is all that you get. Hopefully, maybe on a Friday, we'll come back and see whether our favorite Osu, that we normally call the Osu Oxford Street, would come alive or go back to bed as early as possible.
All right, so thank you very much, Mefa Jiradozi, bringing us that update there. And we're moving to another part of the city, that's La Paz. And Latif Idris is standing by. Latif, what's the situation like in your neck of the woods?
The very spot I'm standing right now is part of the portion of the La Paz N1 stretch that has become the night market in this particular enclave. Throughout the lockdown period, that's a 3-week period, Israel, I used to pass here every single day after work. And I can tell you that this place used to be eerily quiet with little or no traffic at all. But barely 24 hours after the president's announcement of lifting the restrictions in Accra, the situation is gradually changing and going back to what it used to be prior to the president's announcement of a lockdown. We are having city authorities, police officers parading the N1 road, particularly this particular stretch, to ensure that people who used to operate on the shoulders of the road as night markets do not return. And a lot of them have been impacted. This is the place they had their livelihoods prior to the outbreak of the pandemic. And so that is the situation. We got to meet the MC of this particular area. He couldn't wait for us, so he has left us. He promised to speak with us on exactly what the exercise they are undertaking here is expected to achieve. But we have people who used to do their businesses here who have been affected. We are trying to engage a few of them to find out exactly what the city authorities have been telling them and why their businesses have come to a standstill, if you like. You're welcome to join you, sir.
No, I want to speak to you, please.
Don't worry.
The woman is there.
You give a...
The family Kwabna Ajay. Na yeton ade wala pass ya am say tamwa na nakasa say ye yanko edem no akotrefia Saturday be 3 weeks ni na omo ba say ayemefo no ba say omo ba be sanitation enu omo nyina na sanitation no but na ebusa omo the reason tia e bia omo sisankofo ne ma omo bubu table ni nyina wa aleta no mo che say omo pese after ayinu twemu a omo ba be hihye nipa no ama obia anya ba bia tena nti bra na bia no enu a ye ba no pa no se ye ba be hidwa no MC ne nkrofo no ba se be sisa table say mra office ye call office no na obeba ye be tena afra no pa no a wamba ndem se anadwi be se be 8 o'clock ya na obae no ye pese ye ne kasa but omae kwan ne enkasa ana monso mo bae am se mo pese se mo ne di nkomo minim de ntia wadan ho ne nkrofo ne nyina tutukai aha na edidie ne so mo pese bia omo ye hihye bi mae ya ka obae no obetimi ne nyina akasa but wanka bibia nkyerɛ ana yeah wanka bibi ankyerɛ ana wasan tu ne ka ne nkrofo ne nyina kɔ
nti omo ye sɛ nka mo amu tonton niema okwan ho saa no ye twemu ana
ɔno no ye busa no da na omo ye sanitation no wanka nkyerɛ sɛ bi a omo pɛsɛ omo twemu ha but ɔka kyerɛ sɛ omo ba bɛhyehyɛ nipa no omo ba bɛtete asase na ma obia odi ase eni nti no emre na so se nka yesan ba ye ba be hwedwa no obae no ompese ye hu de omopese bia omo ye se ompese omhye nipa no ana se kwan be no ompese o kire se ye ntwe no obeba wamba na abedu anwumre a em se nipa no dodo no asan akofie de ase ntisi se no yɛhu deɛ ɔmpɛ sɛ bi a nhyehyɛ kora ɔmo de gu akwan mu ɛma yɛ
nti ɛdeɛ na mo yɛ afa
yɛ asisi an deɛ sɛ mmerɛkɔ nti no dodoɔ no akɔ fie nti ɔkyerɛ nyame yɛ adom a yɛbɛsan atoa no ne ɔfisi hɔ na deɛ ɔpɛ sɛ ɔka kyerɛ no ɔnka nkyerɛ na yɛnso no yɛhu baabi a yɛde yɛ nam ɔbɛsi
na before a ɔmba bɛyɛ adwuma sanitation ho adwuma wɔ ha no ɔmo de to mo anim sɛ nka ɔmo pɛ sɛ ɔmo yi mu fi ha na
yeah sanitation deɛ anytime biara yɛne ɔmo na ɛyɛ na isi nam sɛ yɛyɛ sanitation na ɔmo ada ɛnso tam.
All right, so that's Latif Idris bringing us that update from La Paz there. Now, we also intend to go examine or assess the nightlife in Kumasi, and we'll be having Erastus Asare-Donkor. In fact, he is standing by now, and then we'll come back to Accra to Tiptoe Lane. So we have quite a bit of rounds to do with you, Aisha.
All right, of course, and I'm actually happy. I was worried that you may see a lot of people on the streets, but I'm quite happy that MFR reported from Osu that the number of people who are indoors. This is just day one. I'm just hoping that in the coming days it will be like that and we'll still observe the protocols. Let's take a break and bring you all the other places and see how they are looking.
So, others also fished in these water bodies.
All right, so you're welcome back to Joy News Prime. We're continuing with our rounds about town to assess nightlife in the two cities, Greater Accra, Greater Kumasi, after the president lifted the lockdown. We're going to Kumasi now. Erastus Asare-Donkor is standing by. Hello, Erastus. All right, Erastus, if you can hear me, what's the situation like in your neck of the woods?
Well, Israel, if you can hear me, we are currently at the Asafo New Plan area. Now, this is an area that doesn't sleep in Kumasi, and this is how you see the environment after the lifting of the lockdown. In fact, we have been going around the city of Kumasi. It's been a rainy day this evening. It's been raining for like 1 hour, very heavy. And so the weather is a bit cold, and when it happens, so people keep to their homes. So it's normal to see quite a quiet environment across the length and breadth of Kumasi. We've been going through Adum to Bantama. Bantama is a very busy area always, but then this evening it's quite calm. A few people are seen on the streets. We've also gone to Ahojo, where we have quite a crowd in the night, but tonight it's been a very calm. I must say that generally it's been very calm because people are not coming out of their numbers as we used to see. I'm getting the impression from people that they are still scared that the virus is out there, though the lockdown has been lifted, and so they are being a bit careful as to how to go out in their numbers. And also another factor is that all the drinking spots that attract people to the streets in the night have been closed, and so you only find people queuing up to buy food. The food joints are open, the various restaurants are open. So these are the few areas you can find people in Kumasi. So generally across Kumasi, we've gone through Bantama, Ahojo, Krofrom, areas where you can find people in the night, but we are finding quite few people coming out to the streets tonight. This place is the New Plan area, and this is where the VIP operates. This is where STC operates. We have a number of food joints on this road as well. And so it's quite a busy place in the night, but as you can see, it's a bit empty tonight, and people are not coming out in their numbers as they used to. Israel.
All right, thank you very much, Erastus. And we're coming back to Accra now and to the Tiptoe Lane, because there's also happens to be one of the very busy spots in the city. So we check out what's happening there. All right, welcome back to Joy News Prime. And sorry, we lost the feed earlier to Tiptoe Lane, but let's go over now. Nancy Emefa-Jira-Dozie has relocated to Tiptoe Lane.
After the scenes at the Osu Oxford Streets, which many of you have already described as a sad situation, I find myself in another peaceful environment. Let's cast our minds back a few months ago. Here is the Circle Tiptoe Lane. Even around this time, which is around 8:45 to 9 p.m., the street is still filled with cars, filled with people holding clothes, people selling phones, people selling gadgets, food stuff, and all other things. But it's rather a different situation today. I eventually see an empty street. Nothing to show that this street was once a busy one. Along this entire stretch, you would have found people lining their words on the floor, with many hundreds of people filling this particular space or this road in between. But the story is different. You can hardly find anybody selling food or anything. The only person I have spotted selling is somebody who is selling food on wheels, and that is all that you get. You would have by now heard, conductors or people that we call mates calling out passengers, asking them to join their vehicles from here to Jolu, Big Farm, because they are at the top. But today, I've been here for the past 10 to 15 minutes. I've only seen one commercial vehicle. It stood here for about 5-10 minutes, and I only counted 2 people in the vehicle. I mean, it appears that even though there's been a lift of the lockdown, the situation hasn't really changed. I mean, we were here a few weeks ago during the lockdown, and yes, some of the shops were not in operation. But today, even though they are open, it appears people have decided to really adhere to the call by the president to observe social distancing. Maybe again we will come here on a Saturday, because I know that on weekends here is quite a busy street, to find out whether or not people are only home because today is the first day. What happens on day 5 and day 6 and day 7, day 10, day 20? We will keep an eye on this.
All right, thank you very much, Nancy Emefa-Jira-Dozie, bringing us that update from Tiptoe Lane at Circle here in Accra. And Aisha, generally it's been good, knowing that people are staying off the streets and nightlife is not that buzzing like we would have expected.
And I'm
which
hoping,
is good news. Yeah, it means people are actually complying.
I'm hoping that it continues in the coming days.
Yeah. All right, so that'll be it for the bulletin, Aisha.
My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching, and on behalf of the rest of the team, have a great one.